What is up, y'all? I'm Benjamin Outdoors, and this is my channel. What is up, y'all? Welcome back to the channel. So today I have a new project behind me, and I would normally be excited for new projects, but this is a different circumstance. So this 4runner actually belonged to my best friend. He ended up passing away at the end of last year. So Morgan and I were actually on a road trip out in California, and he passed away in Utah. So we actually met his family there, and we actually ended up taking back the 4runner and a lot of his belongings back to Alabama. So it kind of worked out in that circumstance, but just everything was just sucky, obviously. But they were nice enough to gift this to me because they know that I can, fix things. So this thing has 300,000 miles. It's a two-wheel drive. And for the last year that he was with us, I was helping him to try to find a newer, lower miles 4x4 4runner to be able to put him in. Unfortunately, he never got around to getting one, so this is all I got. So I'm going to end up converting this to four-wheel drive, do a lot of the maintenance that needs to be done to make this thing last 400,000 or 500,000 miles. And I want to spruce it up. He wanted something slightly higher. I want to put a small lift on it when I convert it to four-wheel drive. No fancy wheels, maybe a few, upgrades, but he was pretty simple. So I want to try to keep it along the lines of how he would have done it if he spent the money on that kind of stuff. He normally didn't. He normally kind of spent the money only on skydiving, only the things that he really needed, the only things he really wanted to do, he spent money on. He didn't spend a bunch of money on useless accessories like I would. So I just want to try to keep it pretty simple. So first order of business is trying to convert it to a four-wheel drive. So that's what we're going to do in this video, or at least start doing it, because it could turn into a whole lot more than I think. But anyway, let's get into it. So to make the build a little bit cheaper, I ended up buying a parts 4runner. So it didn't have an engine, and the transmission actually was, I think, toast. And I was told that initially, but anyway, it was had a lot of stuff wrong with it. A lot of stuff was already missing, but I got it for pretty cheap. And the frame was rusted, so it wasn't salvageable, so it's okay that I scrapped it. But anyway, behind me you see a bunch of parts that I took off of it. Over here, I got the rear axle, stuff like that, because I had to have, of course, front rear diff to match. You also have to have the transfer case, transmission. There's a lot of stuff you have to have. And I got that all with that one 4runner that I bought. So I don't really have to spend a whole lot more. Plus, I made some money from selling parts off of that 4runner. So I still have more parts to sell. So anyway, let's get into it.
So the shaft is a whole lot longer than the four-wheel drive one. So hopefully you can take this collar thing off and this thing detaches, but I kind of highly doubt it. So maybe we can take this off and cut it. Maybe there's some splines over here and all we gotta do is chop it off. Maybe, because I really don't want to remove this transmission. This transmission works great. I'd rather not remove it. So unfortunately, this is not going to work. I'm gonna have to remove this shaft and put in the other shaft, unfortunately. This bolt was hand tight. Holy smokes. Wow. Holding the front. So you got to get that transmission line disconnected, this transmission line disconnected. So those are actually really tight, but when I pull the tranny back, those will pop out of those fittings. Now I'm going to try to get everything, all the electrical disconnected. Then I'm going to work on the last bell housing bolts. So the tranny has a cable attached to the throttle body. It is that one right here. Runs down here along the engine and it connects to the tranny. So I'm going to disconnect it up here real quick and so we can pull it down, pull the tranny out. It's the last thing I got to disconnect. So the cable comes in right here on the shifter cable, comes back around, goes up. I'm just gonna pull it out for right now because honestly that is easier than disconnecting it from the tranny itself. Gosh, dirt freaking sucks. There she is. Time to rebuild this thing. Or at least disassemble this one.
This is the four-wheel drive transmission out of the donor vehicle. So I'm going to tear this down first so I can get a good idea what it looks like. Because, you know, for the cheapest, most budget-friendly route, I'm going to take the output shaft out of this transmission, put it into the good working two-wheel drive transmission. And if I want to spend a couple $100 more, I'll probably just rebuild this one and leave that one as a working two-wheel drive transmission. But anyway, let's start tearing it down. I'm going to start off with the adapter plate. Is a dark red, and there is metal shavings everywhere. Let's disconnect these wires. All these valve body bolts. This is what the valve body looks like underneath the filter. I am going to remove all the blackhead bolts. I believe those screw into the actual transmission. On my F-250, there was only a handful that actually held the valve body onto the actual transmission. I haven't looked it up, but I'm just going to remove the black ones and see what happens. There we go. Looks like you got 4 different of these little pistons with springs in them. Put the valve body over here. Yeah, this thing's smoked. I got metal all in here. So I'm going to remove all these things. Spring with the inner spring. Goes in like that. Looks like that one's empty. So this is the front. This next one, it has got a short spring on the bottom with the larger diameter of the piston thing on the bottom, and then the skinnier one up top with the taller spring. Nothing else is in there, so that one's next one back. So this one is a little bit bigger. It's got small spring on bottom, big spring, little spring inside of it. That one's empty. This one's got just a big spring and a little spring. This up here, little ball thing with plastic thing. Looks to be nothing up in this cavity is where it came out of. Just trying to observe everything before I take anything else apart. Looks pretty simple, to be honest. Well, the valve body's not, but I'm gonna flip it around. Probably go for the pump now.
12 mil. Looks like there's a threaded section on this one and this one. So I'm going to see if I can thread a sliding hammer into it. There's the pump. Oh, it's pretty inside. Got this helical. Oh yeah. Ooh. Yikes. Look at that. It gets tore up. All those teeth in there are tore up too. Oof. Yikes, man. This tranny is toast. Looks like so that one was in there. Then this flywheel looking thing, which has got a nice groove tore in it. And we got another roller bearing with some, like a lock washer on it as well. It actually locks this thing in place. So it actually rolls. That one actually locks into the thing behind it. Again, I apologize. I have no clue of the names of everything. But that rolls on the back of there. Looks like we got some, these clutch packs are held in here with a snap ring. Just need some pliers. Or sorry, just need to get a screwdriver. So there's that puppy. Then it looks like the whole pack's gonna come out together, but it's a metal. And it goes, obviously, clutch pack, clutch disc, metal disc, clutch, and then it ends on a metal. So there is one metal, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 metal, 1, 2, 3, 4 clutch packs. I think I saw what I need to do. There is a big boy in here. Get it from the back side. There we go. Big old snap ring. There is some big bolts on the back side. I'm going to assume that those come out. 2 12s. No. There was this little keeper on a little thing that like looks like it tightens around. There's a bunch of clutch packs in there. That thing looks not good. Oops. Looks like that was positioned like that. Came out like that with another on the back. This is that band that was around the first one. There's actually a tiny retainer ring in there. These are going to be tricky to get out. This one's tiny. Alright, I think I can get it out now with these pliers. Just got some small needle nose pliers. So, I was able to get the circlip off. It was all the way up in on that splined part of the shaft. I just used some needle nose pliers and hooked around it and just got it. Just did it till I got it. It was a little challenging, but I was able to finally get it. There's this puppy. I think it's a planetary gear, I think. Goes on like that. Put that down. Alright. There's a plastic washer right there. It's actually got the grooved section. It's got a bunch of notches that goes towards the front, looks like. Oh, we actually pull the shaft out now. So it doesn't look like I need to pull it out the front, so I can put those pieces back on here. Shaft looks to be in good shape. One thing I just realized was there was a keyway in this, which it fell right here. So it was a half moon keyway, and I'm putting back in there and get this to line back up, and then I'm going to put this clip back on. And I'm going to put this puppy into the two-wheel drive one, and then we'll have a working two-wheel drive transmission that is now four-wheel drive. But for the heck of it, let's go ahead and take the rest of it out. There is a whole nother retaining ring and set of gears and clutch packs and stuff back there, which I don't have to take apart. But you know what? I may take it apart just for the heck of it. I'm not going to take it apart on my two-wheel drive transmission because, well, I don't need to, because I'm just swapping out that shaft. But for y'all and for this video, I will take it apart because I don't think I've seen any quality videos showing how to disassemble these things. Alright, so we're going to take this other retaining ring out. There we go. Okay. Alright, another retaining ring. Another set of clutch packs. It goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 metal. Looks like there's a skinny one on the end towards the back. And there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 friction in that clutch pack. Another retaining ring, I think. Yeah. So we got like a metal clip in here. Pull that thing out. I don't know what that goes to, but it kind of went over that snap ring in there. Basically dead center of the transmission. The bottom of it, at least. This one looks challenging to get out. I don't know if that one's even possible. Unless this thing comes. Oh, okay, there we go. This thing comes out. This ring just basically sits on it. Looks like it's got some grooves made out in it. So that makes more sense. So I should be able to get that snap ring out now easier. Golly, this one's tricky. God, that one was challenging to get out. Be careful with that. All right, so I got that one out. May have damaged the aluminum a little bit. Oh, never mind. I just need to be picked up, I guess. Got this puppy. Got we got a clutch packs. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 metal skinny ones, and then you have a really thick one at the end. And then you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 clutch packs. And they do have these tall ridges, so pay attention how you remove it. They only go a certain way in there, I think. I didn't remember how I pulled them out, but you should be able to see it before you take yours apart. Pay attention to which clutch packs are the taller ones. See that? Three tall ridges here, 4 right here. So that's important, obviously. One of the last pieces. This washer with the ridge facing up. Roller bearing with the sharp edge facing out. And then there's another washer behind it that has the ridge. So where the roller bearing sits in it. And then you got a plastic washer with these ridges sitting up like that. That's pretty much it. It's completely empty. Except maybe a little bit more at the end, but I'm not worried about that. That's basically the full disassembly of this A340F. Alright, so I plugged everything off that can get water inside the tranny. And before I go to disassemble it, I'm going to give it a thorough degreasing and cleaning. Wow, she's pretty. Alright, so it's time to disassemble the actual transmission that is good. So we can't mess up on this one. I'm going to degrease this, clean it up. Don't need this no more. Now we can start getting into it. Ooh, still have a good bit of fluid in there, I guess. Nice. There is very, very, very little metal on these magnets. So that means to me that this is pretty healthy, which makes me happy. Happy, happy camper. Alright, so this filter is going to be different than the one I'm going to put on there. I'm going to get this cable out of here. cable off, all the wires disconnected. Just going to gently pull it off. Looks pretty good. Now I'm going to flip it upside down, drain out. So, over here, we're starting with the piston that's over here, or whatever you call it. Goes like this. Small spring inside of it. This one had the paint up top. Single O-ring. So that one's the furthest one forward. C-O maybe. Single O-ring. These look the same diameter. So now we got this one, B-O. Looks like the spring is fixed in there. Large down low, small up top. Which actually there's another big one up top. Here's another one. This is larger diameter. Bigger spring up top, and then actually even a smaller spring inside of it. This is C-2 with the numbers 30, 40 on it too. This one is B-2, 30, 40, 6C as well on there. It's got another big spring on it too. Single spring. Can't forget this thing. I'm not going to need to disassemble any of the shifting mechanism over here. I may need to remove this drum, like the drum grabber or something. I don't know what that is called, or the function of it, but it like wraps around the actual drum. But I should be good to start disassembling. I'm going to remove those when I get to it, but those are going to be obviously holding some, like one of the barrels in or something. But now I'm going to switch to the pump, which is still a little dirty. 12 mil. All right. So there's a washer on the pump. I don't think there's anything else off the pump that comes off. But there's this washer that sits between the pump and that roller bearing. And I'm going to pull the roller bearing out. All right. Looks like it's got a roller bearing with a cage on it. So the roller bearings are sticking outward with that on the back. It's like a washer and roller bearing built in one. All right. This all looks good. There's this like locking washer on the back of here, which goes against a roller. And then another lock washer behind it on this stator thing. And then on the back of that, you got another skinnier roller that I think this comes off this lock washer too. Or maybe it's fixed. This one looks like it's fixed on this lock washer thing. Okay, now I gotta get this lock ring off in here so I can pull these clutch discs out. So before I take it out, on the metal discs, it looks like there's a small bevel in all of these, but this one looks like it's fixed. So almost 12 o'clock position, the metal packs is flat on top. That one was easy to get out. The flat top metal ones are basically like 10 and 2 position. And we have the thick one up front. And then we have 4 more skinnier metal rings behind it with a, obviously, clutch pack in between. Woo! It is tricky to get those things out without, well, having a lot of experience. So I got that one out. Now I got to take off these bolts. Oh, that one was loose. Go. This is just a homemade vice grip with a little sliding hammer on it. It actually works great. I was able to thread some bolts. Alright. I guess I gotta remove that barrel drum thing. Got this plastic thing that runs on the back of there though. It grabs around that thing, I believe. But this looks like I'm not going to disassemble this at all. I'm just going to leave that as is. Alright, so it's like a washer cap with a roller with another cap on it. With a lock washer and then a roller bearing on top of it. We are to the shaft, so all we have to do is disconnect that shaft, take that clip out, and then try to hold everything in place and slide the new shaft in. So now the tricky part is just going to be getting that clip out again. Oh, finally. Golly, that one's a pain in the butt. There's like a little plastic piston ring that needs to be compressed for it to, not piston ring, but there we go. Oh yeah, holy crap, yes, thank the Lord. It is four-wheel drive now. Now just time for reassembly. So most important thing is putting this circlip all the way back down there. Let's see if I can get. There we go. Cool beans. Making sure there's no crap I left behind in here. Got the lock washer. We got Buddy on there. Let me double check that. I'm gonna put it back on there.
Actually, I think you need to put it all together right now, because there's a bunch of clutch packs, so that might be difficult to do later. That one was actually pretty easy. Now you got to put that strap, that pin and strap for the top back in. These little plastic rings are giving me a hard time. I gotta watch a video and see how we compress those. I'm going to sit it on here right now. I'm gonna do an assembly lube. The bolt holes facing backwards. Or downwards, I guess. Oh, there we go. That slid down nicely. Didn't catch on anything. That little plastic washer is in its groove. So I'm going to get those bolts lined up. Put those puppies in. Put a little bit of Loctite on them, just because I don't want them coming loose. Just Alright, I need to find a torque spec for that. Okay. Little tab, make sure it's seated. It was the remember, it was the thick one on top, and it was the 2 flat spots up top as well. The lock washer with roller. And it's got the lock washer on there too. I messed that up. This has to... I gotta try to get these things back into clutch packs. Now we gotta get this ring back in though. Ooh. All right. There's the last roller bearing. Now I just got to clean up the pump. Fingers crossed this fits. Alright, so I got the pump to slide down. A little more, little up and down play. Ooh. It spins, so that's good. The pump's not spinning, but I can't remember, I don't know how hard it is to spin the pump. Alright, before I put the valve body on, I'm going to make sure everything pressure tests well. I watched a video and the guy used a air gun with a rubber nozzle to pressure test some of the clutch packs. So let's try this back one. I'm pressurizing it just a second, and it's holding real good. Try this one. That one just goes all the way through. It holds it. Holds pressure, what I put in there. He said these would leak out a little bit. So I think we're good. So I'm pretty stoked. Pretty stoked. Pretty sure this one with the single O-ring goes up here. BO, I think this one goes back here. Then C2. Then B2. This piece was back up in this area.
So one thing I want to interject with is when you're putting the valve body back on, do not forget lining that little tab up with this little ram or whatever you want to call it. That actually controls where the fluid goes. This is, the shifter linkage is hooked up to this and it pushes this in, and then basically the fluid flows to whatever gear you're going to. So that's park, reverse, neutral, drive, second, all that. When I put this back together, spoiler alert, I didn't line that up. So first off, this was depressed all the way in, and so the little groove right there that controls everything was hitting the top of this when it went all the way down. And then obviously it didn't pull it out. So every gear I went to was drive. So just make sure you line this up, because if not, you'll have problems. And it's a whole lot easier to assemble this or put this valve body back on when the transmission is on its side or upside down. If you have to do it underneath, obviously you have to worry about the springs and those little pistons and everything. It's just a lot more difficult. So make sure you line that up when you're putting the valve body back on.
There is some different length ones. Just gonna have to find them all. Now we just gotta find a torque spec for this. Looks like it's 84 inch-pounds. Unfortunately, this thing doesn't make a really nice audible click, but it works. So I got the pan painted up inside really clean. Got the magnets back in there, and I'm actually gonna use some Right stuff. This stuff is just fantastic. I mean, if we're gonna be honest, the rubber gaskets that come with those filters are just complete garbage. There's no point in wasting your time with those, in my opinion. This liquid gasket is just fantastic. So this stuff would prevent it from leaking for a very long time. I mean, this stuff is really good. Make sure everything's plugged in, cables are good, these are torqued down. Clean on both surfaces. All right, got a nice bead on everything. All right, I'm gonna do the 4 center bolts in here first. Now I gotta get 3 bolts on the bottom. Try to loosen these up a little bit to be able to maybe shift this thing around so I get them all threaded in. Is that not a bolt? I don't think there's a bolt down low. You know what? There actually was not a bolt in the center of the bottom, like there was on the other F transmission. So all I gotta do is put the bell housing on, put the transfer case on, fill her up, and it's good. So I just took the 2-wheel drive vent off of the tranny because this thing's not meant to like be able to route it higher. And I put the 4-wheel drive one on here, and I ended up cutting the end off so I could add an extra rubber hose to go up into the engine bay. So this hopefully will never get water in it from, you know, going kind of deep in the water. Now I'm gonna put the bell housing on. So I got the bolts cleaned up, and I'm just gonna put a dab of Loctite on it. So hopefully this thing won't come off. Just a little bit, because this is actually red, so I don't want it to be, you know, hold too hard.
So that is actually gonna be it for this video. I appreciate y'all watching. I did not realize it was gonna take that much work to be able to convert the 2-wheel drive to 4-wheel drive. I was hoping that I could just pull the housing off the back of the 2-wheel drive and pop the adapter housing to the transfer case from the 4-wheel drive on. But of course, as y'all saw, wasn't the case. And hopefully y'all have some guidance now if you are doing this conversion, or easier, just buy a 4-wheel drive transmission. I'm trying to build this cheap, and that's why I did this instead of buying a whole nother transmission. Funny thing is, I actually bought another transmission anyway, but that's for the next video. And next video, I'm gonna show y'all me installing the transmission and getting everything to line up properly, which, spoiler alert, I'm running into problems again too. But anyway, till that video, catch you on the flip side.